The Blake Carter Minute is on. I recall when I was 9 years old, home from school early that day. Dad was away on a consulting call for oil in Washington, D.C. And I was sitting there in our home in Lynchburg, Virginia, when my mother and my grandmother called me to sit down and watch the soap opera Another World. Kate Wilkinson was an actress there, and I didn't know who she was until I was 25 years old. My dad told me later that year that he had met her at a book signing at Peterson, Utah, when they were there to sell some oil. I'm among the generation who grew up watching it along with our parents. She will be dearly missed. 5 a.m. JR is having swimming practice with Charlie Nation. You seeing Jennifer likely, are you? Charlie asked. Yes, tonight. Dinner at Taco Villa in preparation for a geology test tomorrow at the library. Jared said, is that all you think of her? Somebody to be like a study mate for you instead of a playmate? I'm sure the way her body is, you'd be stoked for her. Not everything is about intercourse, Charlie. Not everything is about being in the sex act. Obviously, no one talked to you about the facts of life. Oh, I learned in between 6th and 7th grades, thanks to my cousin Jessica. And when my daddy found out, he threatened to tan my hide. And here I thought he was always such a Don Juan. I figured he'd help I think he'd help you with this instead of telling you to knock it off. Whatever, JR said, swimming away. 7:05 a.m. The Hendrick party takes off in their jet from DFW to Midland. 7:30 a.m. At Crockett House, JR is having breakfast with Calvin Broderson and Charlie Nation. How's the statistics holding up, Charlie? Calvin said. Better. You know, we're both taking business calculus this semester, Charlie said. So you're swimming against Louisiana Tech this weekend, JR said. Yeah. Swimming and diving. Gonna leave. JR, you always forget that part. Calvin spoke up. If you can't always be so hypocritical. People will give you a chance. Don't kid yourself. I know what's going on sometimes in those exercise rooms in the actual swim beach. JR says says or does something you don't like. That's not an attention to your detail, and you go after him. 9 a.m. At business and professional speech class, Professor Diedrich is lecturing about the different communication styles in preparation for the term paper and presentation for next week. 10:05 a.m. At the Hendrick offices in downtown Midland, Jim learned that a rig broke down in Fort Stockton, and the closest repair person would be in Ira Ann. Jim is perturbed because he doesn't have time to waste with this, because he's in preparation for his railroad commission meeting, 11 a.m. Jared's in the foreign language lab, working with his section leader, Caesar. In the meantime, in our end, Kyle is not having much luck buying some Hereford cattle. The next chance cattle auction would be Saturday in Lubbock. 12 p.m. JR is having lunch at the Spirit Club with C.B. Coleman. I owed you one subscription to that PR magazine for a year, as well as your contest at Cheesecake Toastmasters, C.B. said. You know it, JR said. Calvin comes and sits alongside them with barbecue chicken, green beans, and a Dr. Pepper. Well, hats off to the winner. You know, Brad can only win a debate over economics when he humorously thinks his opponents can slink away. Some just don't slink fast enough, CB said. 3 p.m. JR is at the Center for Public Affairs reading Saving the Republic by Blake Carter when Dr. M.D. Pilsner walked in. What the hell is going on? Hey, Hendrick, put down that book. Sorry, sir, JR said. I'll catch you reading that book again. I'm going to kill you and tell God you died. Meanwhile, in Ira, Texas, Jim decides the rig is cleared for inspection and ready to start test drilling. 4:40 p.m. Something went wrong with the chamber coils of the rig in Ira. Jim fires the driller for malfeasance and drives off. 5 p.m. In JR's room, he is listening to the Blake Carter show when Blake Carter makes this announcement. Any of you care to look at the details of the Whitewater investigation? Bill Clinton is ignorant if he thinks an informed public won't find him out. My daddy used to take me goat hunting in Virginia, and he always said, before we shot the goat, can run, but you can't hide. Clinton is a naked emperor, and Hillary is using him as a dupe. 6 p.m. JR and Jennifer have dinner at Taco Villa. By 7 p.m. they are ensconced in the library studying for their geology test. February 10, 1994, 4:10 a.m. JR wakes up in his dorm room. He turns on the radio to listen to the Truths That Transform program by Dr. D. James Kennedy. That was recommended to him by Jim Bob Horton. Tonight, he had the Bible study with Brad and Karen. For the past few days, via email and phone, Brad had been nice and courteous. Meanwhile, Kyle and his friend, James Moorhead, load up a prized bull to take to the rodeo in Jal, New Mexico. normally had been written by Peter Seaton, but there was someone that was going to be writing it instead since 1980, Sean Malcolm. He contracted it to do so with Jeremy Swain back then. Jimi Hendrix had thought about canceling the contract, but Elizabeth decided against him. 4:55 a.m. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Elizabeth wakes up to a phone call from her son, Tom. Tom was planning on a surprise visit to JR. Elizabeth informs him that she is now in remission from her cancer. He says whenever he can, he will find a way to come back to the ranch to visit her. But in March, he was taking her on a yacht for a cruise to Jamaica. 5 a.m. At TMC, JR is having a dark chocolate muffins with his cousin Joe. Hats off to the winner, JR. You want a free subscription to that public relations student magazine? And then you win a fast speaking contest, Joe said. You must have talked to Andy, JR said. Yeah. He has to change plans. He's going to Royal Christian University in Fort Royal, Virginia. They offer a better fellowship in journalism with an eye towards advocacy. Always the inquisitive one. You know, at least I can tolerate him a little more than I can Brad. Hope you enjoy listening to the J.R. Hendricks Text Night. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, become a part of the adventure. It's J.R. Hendricks saying until next time, y'all take care. God bless. Come back for the rest of the story.